Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Backlog podcast type test thing.
Welcome to the Backcast.
The Backcast. That's right. That's what we want to call it. I love that name.
It's not bad. No, I'm fine with that. I mean, we can workshop it a little if we need to.
Let us know your best pun-based backlog name in the comments because I will take it and I will love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the idea behind this is just to kind of talk about some of the other stuff. I mean, we're going to have some B-roll video running in the background, but this is an opportunity for Joe and I to both sit and talk like we like to do without the added distraction of game control and mechanic management going on at the same time.
Right, yeah, and it gives us a shot at, talking about things that we maybe can't focus on as much while trying to split focus on a video game and...
Prime example, Mark of the Ninja.
Oh, right. Exactly.
I was trying to, trying to talk and also be good at the stealth game. Weirdly difficult.
Yeah, kind of hard when you're trying to focus and execute on something that requires very fine attention to detail and timing. Hard to split that focus.
It brings a weird frustration in myself. Like, I know I can do both things well separately. I mean, you can argue how well my talking is.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm able to do both separately. I can hold a focused conversation. I can play video games. I can't do both at the same time to the skill level I can do either separately. So it is it's a fun experience to try and I look forward to developing the talent, but right now I've got a long way to go.
Yeah, multitasking not my strong suit.
Oh gosh,
it's real hard to focus.
Yeah,
and think about what you're other things, especially if it's kind of non sequitur.
Yeah,
especially it can really just split that focus. So it's real hard to talk coherently
I think
and carry on a thought to its conclusion when suddenly something explodes, you die, or you just need,
or someone makes a joke that you're just mad that you didn't catch. You're like, I should have had that.
And honestly, in reviewing footage, there's so many things I realize, while I'm playing, you're missing stuff because you're just trying to focus so hard and not suck at video games.
Yes. Especially even on a small scale like this, we've only kind of basically friends, family, and close acquaintances. We're like, hey, check out this thing we're doing. And even then, it's still like, don't screw up.
Yeah. And they don't care how good we are at video games. It's unimportant to what we're trying to do.
Right. The important thing is completing.
Yeah, completion and getting through all these games, every game ever. If we haven't, clearly we haven't stated that enough. I don't think.
One of the feedback we got, we haven't pushed that tagline enough. So look forward to us pushing that tagline more in the future.
Yeah, we're working on our branding. So yeah, we're any suggestions? All helpful. Helpful.
Right. But one of the things we want to set up this podcast to do is talk about some of the other things that we maybe are halfway talking about, but not really getting into. Like on our free time, what are we playing? What are we doing? What are some of the things that have taken up our time when we're not trying to play every single video game ever?
Funny enough, talking about what we're playing is always a lot of fun, and
absolutely, it's
something that does occupy a lot of our time anyway. So might as well, record that for the masses as well.
Right. Also, yes. Hey, we could turn that into content, which consequently has ruined my ability to play some games. Like a new game will come out, I really want to play that, but I should maybe
we save that for the show. Maybe don't just jump on that new release immediately.
Maybe record that.
I mean, that being said, we still do that. We still jump on the new release.
Yes, I think it's some of the stuff that we're still not sure how we're going to record yet. I mean, let's jump into it.
Might as well.
Like Destiny 2, for example.
Destiny 2 is the on the forefront of our minds at this point.
The soup of the day, so to speak.
It's only been out for a couple weeks on PC?
On PC, which is where we went.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I bought it on PS4 and played kind of partway into the raid and went, yeah, okay, and then just dropped it and said I'll play it again on PC, which has been way better. Way better. So, I really do.
And I agree. I made the jump to the PC as well.
Right.
I didn't touch it on PS4. Didn't want to mess with it if everybody that I was going to be playing with was going to jump to PC anyway.
Right. And we did play fairly intense on the PS4 for Destiny 1.
We did play a lot of Destiny 1 as well.
Had the raid team, had the clan thing going, and we basically dropped off before the last expansion.
Yeah. And that's about right. I mean, I know I did get into each expansion a little bit, rated a lot of Destiny 1.
Yeah, I mean, all the way through Oryx, we were doing the raids, and then just right before Rise of Iron came out, I was just like, I'm kind of over the Destiny format, and they were doing sparrow racing and Halloween masks, and I'm like, what is this game? This is not something I want to play.
I mean, suffice it to say, we were overdue for Destiny 2 to show up
right.
and give us a little bit more of that loot farm.
Craving a loot shooter.
Loot shooting is good.
Yeah.
And we do accept that Destiny does have its problems, and and apparently it's a pretty divisive game.
Really,
some people like it, some people really don't like it. So
I've never had anybody that. I mean, I've heard people say like maybe not understand.
Maybe it's just not for them. Kind of
just not for me. But like people, I know very few people who have laid hands on it, got into the shooting, and went, the shooting's not good.
True. Yeah.
Because the shooting's so tight.
It is so tight. And it's what keeps me in that game because there's not much to say narratively.
No, it isn't. And some of the dressing around the shooting, I can see where it would lose you. I can absolutely see where I would lose people. But yeah, the moment to moment, the actual controls are so good.
Yeah, so tight. And you get loot often enough that keeps you going. But then it does have a short enough, I don't know. The life of each patch is somewhat finite, I guess. In that you can kind of get all the loot you can get out of one patch, and then just take a break until the next patch comes out, and then you can do that loop over again.
Right. We're recording and kind of end of the week of the second week, and we're going to do the raid again this weekend, with the second time.
Yeah,
we've already got through it once. And
do we want to tell people how long it took us to get through that raid? Is that something we want to cop to?
I mean, well, here's the thing: is there was, I don't think that's going to end up with us calling out people, and I don't necessarily want to do that. No.
I just meant we don't need to call anybody out. We all have our shortcomings. We were all learning. It was a brand new raid. We kind of knew the mechanics.
It took us about 8 hours, 9 hours?
About 8 hours, which was kind of surprising. I didn't think it was going to take that long.
Well, we got hung up in a couple of places, specifically the Gauntlet.
Yeah, and
the Gauntlet took all our time,
and we were all just learning. So.
And yes, I think we had some low points.
I'm looking forward to clearing that thing in less than
2 hours.
2 hours easy.
Yeah. I mean, once we know everything, it should take. I mean, once we're on point, it'll take 45 minutes.
It's an interesting version of raiding, having come from World of Warcraft raiding, where it's more people, 10 to 20 people or whatever it is, coordinating to get that done, and it's a very mechanically different as well in an MMO setting versus a shooter, because it's like Twitch skill versus priority system.
I explained it to some coworkers this way because, WoW and raiding like that you're doing your rotation, you're focused on doing what you always do, and there's mechanics that interrupt that occasionally. Whereas Destiny is, here's all the things you have to do. Those are your focus. You have to shoot people because they're in your way from getting you to complete the things that are going on. It is so mainline Destiny is shoot all these dudes in this room, get gear, maybe hold E on object to get Ghost to scan it,
yes.
Continue. Whereas the raiding mechanic is no, everybody's running around, head cut off. You go do this, I'll go do this. We're doing this. Oh no, guys are here. Well, I guess we have to shoot them.
Yeah,
except for when we don't.
Fair enough. Enough.
That's why the mental shift is so interesting, because it's like shooting becomes almost inconsequential in the raiding, because if the way it disperses, you can have one guy not shooting anything but still doing the most for the raid.
Right, yes. Okay, yeah, no. I like that.
The Gauntlet, you spend most of your time running an orb around a circle
yeah.
To dunk it at the end while everyone else is shooting and punching stuff, but you're ostensibly doing the most important job.
Right, yeah. And I really like that. It's something I did enjoy a lot about WoW raiding, is when an encounter would require you to specifically do something, whether that was, negating a lot of damage or doing something in getting that that hit of hey, I just did a thing for the group that is going to make us all succeed, and I feel like that hit is a little stronger in Destiny 2.
Well, because there's the focus the focus requirement is so much stronger, because you have to, like I said, shooting is secondary, doing the thing is primary in Destiny,
right?
Which is fascinating. I think it's almost misguided, the fact that they're trying to do the guided games thing.
The matchmaking system in Destiny 2, yeah.
The community, let's face it, is way more toxic, to use the buzzword, than your typical MMO community. Because if you could do good DPS, they could be like, okay, look, post up on the boss, do your thing, we'll do the mechanics around you.
Right.
You can't do that. There's no
You
instance.
can't do that in Destiny at all.
The only-
everyone has to play their role or everyone fails.
Yeah, especially like I mean, I can't think of a single instance in the new raid where you have a specific job, and also you need to be on point, moving, being in the right place at the right time. And yet they theoretically have a system where a person who doesn't know anybody can jump into that, not know what's going, and they're going to help. Or are people just going to be like, look, you're just hindering us, and all the requests will have to be 290 light, know what you're doing, Gallarhorn, a must.
Yeah, and I mean it's sad that like has kind of
Right, because
poisoned the well on that.
Because that design, from a design perspective, that is a beautiful thing. It's like, no, you need 5 friends, you need to be on point, and it's going to be awesome. And they're right. But if I didn't have 5 friends to run the raid with, I'd be pissed because I'm getting excluded from content and loot that's really cool.
But I mean, that's been a problem with MMOs in general forever.
Absolutely. I mean, we have friends who like to do MMO for the atmosphere and the experience, and I just want to hang out in this big world, and I'm just gonna, just do whatever, wherever the wind takes me.
And I envy that sometimes because I'm not that guy. I just need that like raw.
Where's the next
loot.
thing?
Yeah.
Where's the next upgrade?
I need that power. I need that power creep. I need that loot.
Right.
It's all about that loot.
And here's the thing is, like, I don't know, like, I almost wish, just to get kind of weebish right at the beginning here, I wish there's also that sword art style, like, no, I've spent enough time doing the hard stuff, like, I can solo it. But
okay,
like being able to like work hard,
that's an interesting...
over level, and then go in and be able to complete that content by yourself. But again, Destiny's designed, you cannot do that. Especially, and you notice how like the Gauntlet, you have to have 6 people.
Yeah,
there's just no doing it without 6 people.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Because it's like, okay, these 2 people, 4 people have to be hitting all triggers at the same time while the 2 people are running. Otherwise, you're not going to win.
Yeah,
like it's like I said, I understand where that trick, like not the trick, but where the difficulty comes from. But it's fascinating to think about like that. How do you satisfy both? And then obviously you don't.
Yeah, it's one of those just like that. That's the most utopian gaming experience ever.
But here's the thing: is
if that were the case,
like by limiting accessibility, it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm of multiple minds depending on how I feel about it. It's like, I suck at these types of games. Please make it accessible to me. I'm good at these kind of games. Normies, get out.
I mean, yeah, having your cake, eating it too. I got you. No,
yeah, it's
desirable. I understand.
I'm a human being. I have multiple, layers.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and that's the crux of it, really. Like, you can never really have that in anything that does include a group dynamic. It's just not going to ever work. Because if you have one dude that can solo it, like, what's the point?
Right.
Like, why would anybody ever bother?
Right. No, I get it. But also, by the same token, like, that's the thing that I found so frustrating at the end of, it was Pandaria, wasn't it, when they made, on World of Warcraft, when they made the change, that heroic is now mythic rating, and mythic rating requires 20 people, and here we have a team of 10, and we're like, but what about us? Because we're at that mythic level, maybe not, able to clear mythic, but we're rating mythic because heroic's too easy.
Right. Yeah.
And now we're stuck there forever.
Yeah. And it's still a huge problem.
Right. And I get what they're doing, and it's like, that's cool. I just think maybe their scaling is wrong. Because who can manage 20 people?
I'm sure it is. We'll see what happens. Like, they're always a little slow to make any big changes like that. Especially because, from what they say, they're working on. Sorry to switch gears so quickly to WoW, but they're working on expansions like years ahead of time.
Right.
So they're already kind of in for their next few years. They're kind of stuck with what they were at, even though new problems are surfacing.
Right.
With whatever the case may be, it'll be it scaling, the way legendaries drop, or how that's all handled. Like, they're kind of up a creek for a while until they are able to really jump in and revamp systems like that.
Well, so the idea being that, so then the solution to the problem, this expansion, is solved expansion after next,
or longer. Depending on how that's like, because they talk about it having being working on these things for so long.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That being said, like, I've enjoyed the current expansion quite a bit. They've got some. I do still have problems with the way they do like that, the raid difficulty scaling, and it seems like they're working on adjusting that still. in different ways, and we'll see how that plays out. It's always hard to tell. They're kind of like stuck with what they're at right now until the next expansion comes out, and that's when they can kind of mix things up a little bit if they're willing to. But they always seem a little reluctant to make any major sweeping change.
Right. Fair enough. And see, here's the thing that I also enjoy about Destiny is the guy who's now the lead developer or the project lead on Destiny 2 is during Destiny 1, and I assume they keep this philosophy, is they've said it's okay to walk away from Destiny. They've designed a game that they want you to be engaged, be deep in, and then being able to walk away until they update stuff.
Right, and I actually really appreciate that. It's something I wish was doable with things like WoW. WoW requires constant vigilance, constant time.
If you're not grinding, you're falling behind.
Yes, I guess to be fair, it's not really true.
Artifact power.
Yeah, that is definitely the main problem.
I will say in Legion, it is kind of more true than it ever has been.
Definitely in different aspects as well. And unless you're like rating on the super high end, you really have no leeway in that.
You know, just talking about this has made me miss part of WoW in that the kind of like, I've got a lazy Sunday afternoon. What I'll do, I'll just log in and just kind of
grind some stuff.
Not even like kind of, but like kind of
farm whatever.
Or I'm watching YouTube or Netflix or Hulu or whatever. But I'm more focused. I'm more focused on that. But I'm kind of doing this and
it's a good kind of like hypnotic gaming experience where you don't have to pay a ton of attention. You kind of know what you're doing and you can play that loop over and over.
Right.
And I can understand where people get super burnout on WoW, especially because it does require a lot of attention to stay caught up on. With Destiny, once you've got all of that,
once your light level capped, and have the guns you want,
you're fine to just put it down and you're ready to go. You're as powerful as everybody else. As soon as the next patch drops, you can jump back in, gear up with everybody, raid at the same time as everybody else. It's real easy to stay quote unquote caught up.
Speaking of, I have noticed that the PC crowd that I've interacted with seems to be on point with getting their light levels up. Like, just even like everybody doing the PvP grind for the weekly thing.
Right, sure.
All their light levels are 290 or in that 280 290 range.
Yeah,
which is where I'm at.
Our guys that were low are now. We're all pretty on point. Like we're all getting close to cap. I mean, the more hardcore of us, I should say, are getting close to the power cap.
Right, but I mean, even the less hardcore of us are within 20 light levels.
Very true. Yeah, like very close.
Which is kind of funny because
awesome for the rating because it's going to make it faster for us.
Right, and here's the thing: is I enjoy just sitting down with our team and just BSing around and being kind of jerks to each other and just kind of that's mostly me.
Such is life. Such is life.
But just kind of goofing off and seeing where we go and just hanging out. Here's the thing: is that's what kept me in WoW for so long. Not to bounce back and forth between games, but we're totally doing that.
It's gonna happen.
But yeah, that I loved the atmosphere. I stayed with our raid team for forever because I enjoyed the dudes in it. Once my work schedule changed, I didn't find another raid team. I got free of WoW.
Yeah, and that's completely understandable. WoW's kind of a weird beast in that regard where when people burn out on WoW, they burn out on WoW.
Well, here's the thing. I won't say I burned out. I'm just, like I said, I'm free of it. And like, if things hadn't changed, I'd still be playing. No question.
I guess it's true. You were kind of burnt out on WoW way before you actually stopped playing, right?
Oh, I did burn out briefly, took a break and was like, okay. And I found I kind of made my peace with WoW.
Okay.
So burnout may be a bit strong.
Maybe a strong word. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, it's just it's the buzzword.
Yeah,
it's the buzzword for people who are taking a break.
But here's the thing: is like what I did is like I realized like, oh, if I'm feeling burned out, I just only log on for raid and then do other things.
Yeah, and I do that a lot myself.
Yeah,
especially when there's no quick thing I can jump on and do because when I'm logging into WoW, I'm logging into WoW for a time commitment of playtime for maybe not a big reward from doing that.
Right.
It's just kind of like I need to stay functional in and be caught up on.
And see, that I dislike. I like to play a game because I can and get optional upgrades or things like that. Or, I mean, I kind of want to try, like maybe softly start transitioning toward the other thing we've been playing,
right,
which is Diablo 3, which is you're always raising your Paragon levels, getting your stats up, getting better even if you're not getting the gear you're looking for.
And arguably that is kind of what you're doing in WoW as well with artifact power and
Yeah,
things. Like,
okay.
it's very much like it's that constant progression that you can still do, even though it's incremental.
Right.
Because in Diablo 3 with Paragon, once you're getting to higher Paragon levels, that stretches out farther,
Harder to level,
and
yeah.
farther, and takes much longer to get a new Paragon level.
Yep.
And then the reward from that is so minimal each
After
time.
a point, yes.
Yeah. Once you're hitting like the high, 600 to 800 and above that, it's the reward there is kind of minimal.
Right.
It's just like an extra bonus because you're still playing the game, and it's the Paragon system's not necessarily the drive.
No, but it's
at all.
But it feels
in
good because
Diablo.
you still explode into light and go.
It is cool.
I got a point,
Yeah,
and
you still get that ding, and that is real nice.
And here's the thing: is if you get enough Paragon points, it's like in aggregate though over time. If you get, I don't even know if 8 to 10 levels makes a difference, but it feels like it does.
It can, yeah, and especially early on.
Well, early on, every
once-
level is
yeah.
You need every level. You need your.
But then
run
once you
speed
hit
and,
like
yeah.
800, you have everything except your main stat already maxed out. And
Right.
So the Paragon becomes less effective
Right.
as a leveling progression thing. And that's the beauty of Diablo, though. They have developed more of a... You have the loot, you have the enchanting of the gear that you can then raise your power level with. They have
Right.
like so many paths, and it's a shorter loop as well.
Well, I was going to say, see, this is the funny thing. Is like I just was sitting here thinking about it, and they've got the loot cycle down to a science. Whereas if you're like looking for that quick hit of like any of the other games have the quick hit of like let's say any kind of narcotic you want to use for this example. I don't endorse the use of drugs, especially the illegal ones, but
inappropriate.
But Diablo is kind of like
this is a family show.
You're right. That's why I'm talking around it. But Diablo is like the edibles of the loot. It takes a little bit to hit, but it's so distilled down. It's just
so pure.
It's so like I guess it's like the pure loot into like it's like liquid loot into your system.
No, Diablo 3 is almost the ideal game for me, I think.
It's scary how it is.
It's kind of scary because I'm never dissatisfied with playing Diablo.
Yeah.
I will pick it up, especially seasons. The new season did just start.
So we've
just leveled.
Power leveled.
Just power leveled. It did start yesterday.
And we're already at max level.
Already max level and working on sets and things like that.
Yeah. The changes they've made in this have been fantastic for that even. Loot drops way more. It's ridiculous.
This is a new season right after a huge patch that has kind of rebalanced everybody's power level. So even some of the weaker, historically weaker sets are now powered up and can run really high difficulty things. And the season system is what kind of keeps me fresh on Diablo.
It's weird how it works. Yeah, because
I'm happy to just replay every time a new season comes out.
Right. For those who don't know, basically you choose your character, or you can can't talk. I'm getting too excited. You choose a character or make a new one, and you start at level 1. That person's divorced from your Paragon levels and everything else, all your other stats, and has to start over just like you're starting from scratch. At the end of the season, that character rolls back over to wherever they were with all their Paragon gear. All that stuff rolls into your main account. It's weird how fun that is, though.
Yeah, especially because it's not like we're going back and playing the campaign over. We're literally doing the same thing you would do on your regular character.
Yeah.
But we're just doing it from level 1. And there is the leaderboard, and I have never been hardcore about it.
Me neither.
But it's always a weird driving factor. I will check it somewhat constantly just to see, hey, is the set that I'm running this season, is it good? How high can I theoretically push myself? And I'd like to see myself on the leaderboard at some point. I don't know that I have the time or patience to really jump into that.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool, and seeing what is the top and using it as kind of like a build guide almost for gear.
A lot of people do that.
Be looking for. And maybe like, I got a piece of gear that I don't really know how to reforge correctly. Yeah. What are the top guys doing? What are we looking at there?
What's the meta, so to speak?
Yeah, what is the meta for the like my shoulder slot? Do I roll into like cooldown reduction or crit chance? Like, what's going to be best for me? And I'll use that as a pretty like solid, I don't know, helping hand. I never have as good a gear as any of those guys do, but it's always like helpful to be like, okay, if I do get to like X point, I know how to kind of not do the math myself, but let smarter and more progressed people do that for
Right,
me.
right. I've sometimes often played around with the idea of like, well, I really want to see how this works out. Should I look up, where strength, putting strength into Paragon points as opposed to vitality, where your diminishing returns hits, and where should I be aware, and if I haven't heard of it, I'm pretty sure I'm not anywhere near it. But
Yeah, seriously.
I want to know that, and I kind of did a casual search once
too
or
much
twice.
math.
Oh gosh, I don't even. Yeah, and me and math, I love math, but we don't get along.
I'm glad math exists.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
glad-
don't want to have to like talk to it every day.
Right? Jeez. Yeah, just like I'm glad I don't have to repair my car.
Yeah.
It's like I'm glad there's people who know how to do it. And yes, I am somewhat weaker because I have to rely on them, but such is life.
It's somewhat weaker. Is that an existential
Well, tying it into video games, I worked in an arcade as one of my first jobs.
That's
And
super cool.
One of the Mortal Kombat machines, I think it was 2 or 3, every once in a while on the splash screen would pop up and it said, "There is no knowledge. That is not power." And like weirdly, that kind of stuck with me. It's like, well,
I mean, sound philosophy, right?
there's some truth to that, right? I don't know if all knowledge is some form of power, but then again, I think it's all just situational, right?
Then we just start talking about epistemology and what is knowledge.
Oh,
and,
gosh, you were telling me about that once, and that's...
we could get deep.
Welcome to the Epistemology Podcast.
Welcome to the philosophy talk with the Backlog.
Right?
We just
Backlosophy?
The Backlosophy. Ooh, that'd be fun.
Maybe. Well, yeah, I mean, we have a kind of a hobby grade
interest in philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we've had some fun kind of throwing some ideas back and forth on that, but yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because there's enough philosophy in games as well that like this quote unquote knowledge or whatever that people are trying to throw at you. Like you can look at it, you can kind of like value it for yourself and how much that means. So, I mean, it's super cool that something from a Mortal Kombat arcade game
kind of touches that without even realizing.
Kind of poke that bear just like in a weird, pretty like innocuous way, but then it sticks with you,
right?
And you can apply that to.
Here's a 16-year-old kid who's working a dead-end arcade job, who's just like...
You're just sitting behind a counter watching a track screen.
Oh, no. Not even that. I had to be walking around and doing something.
Oh, lovely.
And like, okay, well, when nothing's going on, I want you to clean the machines. Like, what, with like a rag on the outside? Like, no, you have to take them apart and like start cleaning them on the inside. Like, aren't I just going to screw something up? Is that going to mess something up?
Oh, answer me this. Did you ever have one of those awesome little change things on your belt?
No, I did not.
Man.
I just had the key, but here's the thing: is I had something just as good. There was especially this one Pac-Man machine that the coin drop didn't line up right. So when people put in the tokens, it would land on the box and not fall in the box where it's supposed to be changed out. So I could pop that, just run my hand over the top, and have, well, depending on how many people played, but like $5 in tokens.
That's wild.
So I'm like, oh, I got you. And I just do all that stuff on the side.
That's fantastic.
Like, not that I did that, because I mean that would be grifting money, and I was a very upstanding youth at that time.
At some point it's customer service.
I
right?
did have friends who would there, or this thing ate my quarter. Hang on, I'd have a pocket full of tokens for
customer service issues.
Customer service issues.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but
that's super cool. I wish that had been an option for me. I would have loved working in an arcade.
Yeah, it was one of those things. My brother already worked there, kind of getting into the management part of it. And it was my birthday present for my 16th birthday. He got me a job interview.
That's rad.
Yay.
I mean, not like the most exciting, but like
place actually was there were some issues there because
I mean,
I realized
nowhere is perfect.
Well, no, but here's the thing: is I realized that like when you have a high amount of say 24-year-olds that work at a mini golf place, you understand that the quality of person is maybe not as high as you would like.
Yeah, fair enough.
I learned a lot of that first job. Let's say.
Okay, yeah, a little life lessons happening there.
Well, you get thrown under the bus enough times, and then you're like, all right, fine, I see how it is, and then you go into the general manager and says, hey, I'm tired of getting thrown in under the bus. Here's some hot tips. Also, I quit. So that was a fun one. Like, anyway, won't get into that.
Just burning the place down on the way out.
Not the place so much as the people who it's like, oh, you think this is funny, huh?
you're all tools. I'm out.
Who's laughing now?
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Yes, though not before me and one of the other managers set basically all the records on Super Off-Road. because like, hey, you'd be like, hey, come here, help me test this machine. It looks like it's not working right. Sure. So you put in enough credits, you can buy all the upgrades and have infinite nitrous because you could spend quarters for nitrous.
Dirty.
What's fun though is there's no overlap on nitrous, so you're just hammering the nitrous button, so you're constantly at top speed. And if you know how to navigate these courses,
scamming the little kids at the mini golf course.
Oh, heck,
I see how it is.
Yeah, like it was great. It was
that's legend.
That's not even scamming because it didn't hurt them. It's just they were just the top 3,
just unattainable top scores.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, and I could tell somebody else was doing it because their top score was getting close to ours.
So I was like, I have to pay enough to get this top score.
I mean, we literally bought our top score.
That's kind of depressing to think about.
Like even back in the day, the first microtransactions were, hey, if you want to get on the leaderboards, give me $15.
Oh no.
I'd like to go back and figure out the math on how much we would have had to actually spend.
Is that what this has all just become? Like the old quarter chugging arcade games are now just loot boxes.
Yeah, history is cyclical, man.
Oh,
welcome
man.
to it.
Yeah, 80s is back.
Well, here's the thing is, because people will pay for it.
People will.
I want to get angry about it, like the story that Activision in 2016 made $3.6 billion on loot boxes.
I think we've gotten to a point now that like loot boxes are not really that offensive.
Right, because people have gotten used to them.
Well, and it's cosmetic. Like the pay to win philosophy of yesteryear has kind of gone out the window, and people kind of see it for what it is. And I don't think any mainstream games
Call of Duty did the last instance
a pay to win.
Well,
you could buy better guns than everyone else.
Hey, let's get topical. Activision just got a patent granted to them that is a matchmaking system designed, and they've said they quickly, because it got out, they're like, no, we just want to patent it. We don't have any plans to use this. Distant laughter on that, but it's you get matched with players that are better, that have spent money, and they surface the weapons that the better player is using and saying something along the lines of, hey, here's a discount.
Oh, interesting.
And then,
I don't know that's bad, though.
But then when you spend money, you are now that player. You get matched into an advantageous situation.
That's marketing.
No, it's if it's surfaced.
But those guns aren't actually more powerful. It's just like you get matched against a better player.
Let's say the patent doesn't say.
Because like getting back to Destiny a little bit here, like when you're in PvP in Destiny, they show you what gun you got killed with.
Yes, they do.
And you see a gun enough times, you're like, I kind of want that gun.
I think I know what the meta is.
you kind of start feeling what the meta is like, and you start keeping your eye out for like a specific assault rifle or a hand cannon or whatever the case may be, or there's an exotic gun that you just haven't got yet.
For example, first Destiny, everybody was like, wait, where do I get the Vex Mythoclast? It's in the raid?
Yeah, and it was just nuking everybody in PvP. And granted, that was broken. I mean, that was a broken occurrence. But I mean, in your Call of Duties and things like that, you can't buy a Vex Mythoclast and just go clean house.
I haven't played Call of Duty to say you can.
Fair enough. Like, why are we talking about Call of Duty? Neither of us play that game.
I'm just saying, but that's the one that's the closest analog because it's...
that's not necessarily a pay to win, though.
But they do have guns that are exclusive in there that might be better balanced for how you want to do that.
I mean, maybe, again, we're talking about things we don't really know.
Right. Admittedly, we don't understand. Yes.
Because I don't know that those stats really are... Is it because I've seen like the guns and stuff in Call of Duty look rad, like all the cosmetic weird knives and stuff people get, like that stuff looks super cool. I've never,
but it's cosmetic.
Yeah, I just don't know that.
And you're right. Most places have done that. There are still outliers and people that are still doing the good stuff.
But I think games like that people see as like pretty like kind of lousy free to play hooks and pay to win hooks are like you need to buy this to win. But like you're talking Destiny, you're talking. Like Overwatch, things like that. Everything in these games is like purely cosmetic,
right? And as long as it's that, and here's really where I have my problem. You're right. I'm fine with that, except $60 game with microtransactions.
I mean,
you see, like it's like no,
I don't know where I land on that because you wonder what our development costs, how much have these development processes inflated since yesteryear.
Well, and I wonder how much of it has because they can then pass microtransactions
And-
onto the computer
yeah,
consumer. It's like because
And that is capitalism. I mean, it's all about the bottom line. Like
Mhm.
when you get really down to it, it's like, how do we make more money off of this? And
Right.
if we can get away with charging $60 for a title, not even AAA, and then add microtransactions, and
Why wouldn't we?
People will add, they'll buy more.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spent countless dollars at this point on WoW, and I've bought some of like the cosmetic
pets and all that, yeah.
mounts and things like that. I've even put money into Overwatch loot boxes before,
Mhm.
Hearthstone card packs. I mean, I know we talk a lot about the Blizzard verse, but that's kind of my ecosystem at this point.
Yeah.
But I have no problem with it. I think it's just purely cosmetic, and if they're willing to put out cool art assets that I want to throw on a character, I think that's rad, and
See-
I'm happy to pay if it's to my liking and my price point. Absolutely, I'll throw money on.
See, I don't know. I'm coming across as the guy who doesn't do that, but I do that too. So like, I'm almost hypocritical in my.
Pot calling kettles black.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
But it's like, but it's something I think about a lot. It's like I wonder, where does it end though? Like, it's just the same problem, you know.
I
It's
mean,
like,
does it end? I mean, does it need to end? Like,
well,
as a red-blooded American,
The market-
capitalism,
the market will decide.
the market will decide, right?
I guess there's. And here's the thing: if it supports, if people are willing to do it, God bless you. Keep doing it. We'll see where it ends. I guess you know.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just love that there's also as a result though that you do have a pretty active indie kind of not indie scene. Like for example, let me jump over to Mark of the Ninja, a game we just finished
Yeah.
playing. $20 game. I think it's actually on Steam when we're recording for $5 right now. So I mean, it's a $20 game that I would I don't know if I'd pay $40-$50 for it, but
$5 for that game, man. I'm gonna pick it up and
Right.
play through it myself.
right. But I'm saying, but that is a full game with mechanics and everything you need. It is a complete game, a complete package for $20. That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So-
And it's a great game, but like you said, it's kind of like we're talking indie territory.
Well, because I think it's what we lost for a while at the end of the 360, beginning of the PS4 era, because the perception that development costs need to be high. We lost your mid-tier game, your $30 game, $20, $30, $40
Definitely.
game.
Yeah.
That those all
And
went
that's
away.
pretty. Yeah.
And now that's
definitely.
especially on PC and Steam and
Well,
that.
and back then, indie games were not as good as they are now. I mean, you had some outliers that were great. You know, your Fezzes, your Limbo.
Well, even before that, there was the indie scene was kind of non-existent as far as I understand.
Right.
It was completely below radar.
Well, I guess with like Fez and Limbo and Super Meat Boy,
Right.
they were kind of out of left field, and I think that was probably maybe the resurgence. Was that the beginning of those games starting to kind of get
Absolutely.
noticed again?
Absolutely, and I credit especially the Microsoft Live Arcade, because Geometry Wars was like $5 initially, and
Man, that's a solid game.
but as they realized people were willing to pay more, and I'm okay with this because like look, the market demand is about $15-$20 for these things, and it's just a whole like now it's a tier that has like a resurgent, because on the PS2 there was always games that were like, well, this isn't a $60 game, this isn't a $60 game. I guess we can get 40 for it. Okay, we'll market it at 40.
Yeah.
But that disappeared with the newer consoles for a time. There was some outliers that tried to do it. I think like initially Halo ODST, when they announced it, was going to be a $30 game. And they announced it as such, but Microsoft's like, yeah, but we can make $60 off of this. So put in all the Halo 3 maps as a separate disc, bam, $60.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I ever finished ODST.
Oh no, going on the list.
Oh yeah, maybe I have to add that to the
Well,
list.
I love
know
ODST.
I know I started
love
it, and
ODST.
I remember it being good. I'm a huge fan of the Halo playstyle. It's another reason I'm a big fan of Destiny. Is it plays a lot like Halo.
Weird, almost like it was made by the same company.
Like it's made by the same dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bungie's. I don't know. Bungie's okay. I was gonna be a little bit more praiseful.
They were
probably
fantastic.
Yeah. Things have changed. Destiny's good. But yeah, ODST. I'll have to throw that on the list. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's great. It feels good to see all of these indie guys kind of getting a chance. Like we're seeing amazing games coming out. A lot of crap as well on Steam, but like the
shovelware is real.
Yeah, we're seeing some just outstanding indie titles.
One game I really want to check out that I saw on there is called Elex, ELEX.
Okay.
And it looks like it's an open world post-apocalyptic game, but it's like sci-fi. So you have guys wearing power armor that is just armor now because there's no power to it, and like the face mask is cracked and all that.
I know you love your power armor.
I love me some power armor. Anyway, but it looks good, and I was like, this thing looks great. Looked at it, $40 at launch.
Okay.
And it's a $40 open world game. The voice acting looks to be pretty well on point.
All right.
That's
always good.
I kind of looked at it and so I'm like, okay, we'll add this to the wish list, and at some point we'll probably get around to it. But looks great. And I was just like, this is amazing, and it's $40. Holy crap. Whereas something that you put in the same category, let's say Fallout 4, or any Bethesda game at launch, for that matter. Even
you're poking the bear here.
I think anybody knows.
People love those Fallout games, and they'll pay whatever
and
Bethesda wants to
don't
charge.
Get me wrong, I have bought all. I bought them on the cheap, but I bought all the Fallout games. But I also don't play them at launch because anybody who knows that they're buggy at launch.
Well, they're buggy all the time, I thought.
Well, yes, but it's.
But I thought that was like. People like accepted that. It was like part of the Fallout
creepiest thing. And I know it's not Bethesda, but Fallout New Vegas had a bug at launch where the intro, the first person you talk to, sitting in a chair talking to you, there's a bug where they went all Exorcist and their head is spinning around 360 around their body while they're talking to you.
Horrifying.
Yeah, while they're talking to you, like, did I buy a horror game? What's going on? And it's super creepy.
Pretty sure everyone that bought Mass Effect Andromeda thought the same thing.
Oh gosh, speaking of AAA, is not necessarily better. Ooh, I'll say this: the skyboxes and some of the terrain look amazing. But the people not so much.
I mean, that was a huge just missed opportunity for them to like bring back the Mass Effect world. In a meaningful way.
I saw so the official EA, I think EA officially or BioWare officially, the 10th anniversary of Mass Effect happened recently, which makes me feel old. But they said the Mass Effect franchise is still going strong, is what was the official statement, and they're like. But even though they've basically shuttered the studio that made the last one, have no plans to make any more, canceled the trilogy that was this last game, kicked off, and they're like, no, it's still going strong. We're totally not EAing this thing that we own because it's owned by EA, and they're just going to shutter that studio.
Hey, that's another one that's on the list. I need to never played Mass Effect.
We are going to play the first one.
Yeah,
I'm going to push for the first one. The second one you should play. Then my enthusiasm's going to drop off.
It may take us a little longer to get to that one as we work our way through through the endless library of video games that exist in the world.
That's another thing that we've joked around about, but like the balance of I've played this game, I like it, I know you'll like it, versus we don't know anything about this, but we've heard it's bad. At what point do we start torturing ourselves with bad games? Or do we get through all the games we like and then just slog through bad games?
Bad games are kind of good, though. I mean, I love Jurassic Park.
I really like that playthrough. I really like that.
I may have sounded a little exhausted with it at times.
Down at points,
just as I realized how much of just a computer it was, and needing to do things in a very particular order. Yeah, I did not expect that from a Super Nintendo game.
True,
especially one from a franchise that I just adore.
Yeah.
But that was really enjoyable. Some of our palate cleansers that we've done. Just finished Contra 3, the Alien Wars. I'd never ever seen that game. That was a trip to play. And as bad as some of that Mode 7 was, man, it was kind of eye-opening to what those games were kind of pushing at that time.
Right. And I will say, just as a side note, it may not look as bad when you're watching us play Contra 3, how bad the Mode 7 was, but when you're trying to control in some of those sections, it just is frustrating to the sickeningly hard to control. Literally.
It was definitely that was a major part of it. Just like uncontrollable nature of it, and man, I don't understand how anyone played those games when they were like not cheating. Oh man, I don't know if you could throw enough money at that to ever beat it. It's ridiculous.
Here's the thing: it was straight for Super Nintendo. It wasn't an arcade.
Right.
It was meant to be beaten.
We did mention that.
You just had to get good in a very specific way.
That's some tight gameplay to get that done for sure.
It's one of those things where it's like that again. We've talked about the idea of how long would we want to spend with a game before we felt confident? We're just gonna infinite life through it. Yeah, because we don't want to put you guys through us having to learn every single game ever. But there's some part of me that's I kind of maybe take one game and be like, no,
maybe
this game I'm gonna
we can definitely approach that as well. And I mean, Yeah, and honestly, we can just throw this out to everybody out there.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys want to see us do anything specific, any game requests, anything like that, like, man, let us know.
It seems like everybody we talked to said, "Hey, we're doing this." There's always a game or two that they're like, "You got to play this. You've got to play this."
Yeah,
so
we've had a few requests already, and we're always open to more. We're looking to fill out.
We do have a ridiculous Google Doc that is,
we do,
that
and
it's not big enough though. It's not big enough.
Yeah, trying to figure out the order that we're going to get through everything, and
we read over it and
check off that massive list. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything anybody specifically wants to see, has a lot of nostalgia for,
we do requests.
We do requests,
but it maybe not immediately, but we're going to have to get there. We're going to get there some point.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing stuff right now that's going to take a little while to finish. We have stuff in the can ready to go up, and
and speaking of that, do you want to mention kind of
what just happened? Right?
Yeah. We're learning experience, folks.
Yeah, I mean, this is all new to me. I've never done any audio or video production ever before, so a lot of the technical parts of it eluded us for a while.
Yeah.
Even though our sound was like, we thought it sounded great, everything looked great, all of our uploads were great. As we've been moving into different formats, namely higher def 3D games with higher frame rates and things like that, stuff just comes in. And recently we just had to sadly trash a number of episodes of Darksiders, which is a fantastic game. If you have not played it, I highly recommend it. But we didn't understand bit rates and things like that. So after bulk batch recording like 7 episodes of that game.
Well, it should say we get excited. We're having fun.
Yeah.
And just like anything,
start going.
We power through.
Yeah,
we power through
we're
these
powering
again.
through, doing a bunch of episodes. It's a lot of fun, a lot of excitement there.
Good banter,
but not a lot of time to maybe sit down and review said hours of footage and realize that with low bit rate comes low quality and lots of bit artifacting.
Yeah, like watching and saying like, oh wait, no, this actually looks like garbage.
Yeah, and as a gorgeous, fantastic game that moves in a way that you just kind of need to see in its entirety, we're gonna throw that one on. We're gonna throw those episodes on the fire, and we'll come back around to it.
Soon.
I know
sooner rather than later.
Sooner rather than later, but not immediately. I'm gonna have to let that.
The wound has to heal.
The wound has to heal. It was kind of a shot to me. I was like, I was so excited. The game is so cool. But yeah, not to hopefully get anybody's hopes up about that, but it may be a couple games before I jump back into Darksiders, and we'll have everything kind of sorted out because we want everything to look as good as it can, sound as good as it can, and. Sadly, this was a casualty of my own ignorance.
Not the first, but the most significant.
Not the first. Yeah, this has been the most significant production stutter we've had.
Ooh, it does hurt.
It's a little salty about it, but it's fine.
And then also what we've been trying to do is we've been trying to kind of decide. We're playing around with some ideas of how we record and how we're going to upload things, trying to keep it fresh for you guys. The idea being like, okay, if Joe's playing a fantasy game, I should be recording something sci-fi or a strategy or something,
or even just a different game style.
Yeah, so just so it's not like, hey, we're playing The Witcher and then also
I'm gonna play
Dragon Age Origins, at the same
Tales
time.
of Berseria.
So it's like a hardcore RPGs.
Two hardcore RPGs at the same time that are
5,200-hour games.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So it's like, hey, so for the next 3 months, the channel's just gonna be RPG Central. Get used to that.
So yeah, we're working on organizing how we're gonna roll out each of these different games and the way that's going to go.
But trashing Darksiders kind of threw that off for us.
Well, it was kind of a blow, but it's learning experiences as we kind of roll into this new thing. Hence, we're starting to do the podcast as well. Hopefully we can kind of like hash out some of this stuff and get some more feedback from people who are interested in and want to make requests and want to be a little more involved. Also, it allows us to be a little bit more transparent about what's going on and just kind of say, hey, here's what we're thinking. Without having to say, so if we're playing a game, be like, hey, so it's going to be irrelevant in a week, but we're just going to throw this at the beginning of our video. Tell us what you think in the comments. And right on, yeah.
Now it doesn't matter. And then, a year later, someone's like, I think you should do this. And you're like, great. We went a different direction forever ago.
Yeah. And I mean, this way we can like have a little bit of a sounding board as well. Not only with just like how we're going to hash out some of these ideas, but, get some feedback on it as well. A little workshop.
Also lets us sit in our nice comfy chairs and just relax.
And I don't have to like...
If you hear creaking, let me see.
Headshots. Don't rock.
I can see it's creaking.
No,
it's that's how comfy it is. I don't care that
we
it creaks.
We do have incredibly comfortable chairs.
Yep.
Yeah. But really excited for what we got coming up.
Yeah, we kind of just wove our way through a number of topics there.
Yeah,
kind of past what we've been playing.
Yeah.
So we mentioned Mark of the Ninja. Love that. Pick it up. It's $5 right now, unless it isn't, in which case it's $20.
Yeah,
but pick it up anyway. It's
going to go on sale again. Just keep an eye out. Worth it. Worth getting.
We do want
to
tease another thing that's going to be coming up this week. Is actually we're playing The Room.
The Room.
We really enjoyed it, and I think that's all we really need to say about that one.
Yeah, pretty short.
Pretty short, but we really
short, but pretty good. It's such an interesting game.
I say it's a hell of a thing.
Beautiful game,
and just one that you could just sit there and just like. Anyway, you'll see soon.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
Also goes on sale very cheaply.
I picked it up
Steam.
for 50 cents.
Yeah, it's pretty legit.
Yeah, so it's like
totally worth every penny.
If you get 2 hours out of it, who cares? It was 50 cents.
Absolutely.
Show me a movie that you could get 50 cents worth of if 50 cents stretches you that far.
True.
So anyway,
true.
I know that's not a good example, but it's the one everybody always uses.
What you looking for? You looking forward to anything coming up on the horizon? What we're going to record? What we're anything coming out? What do you want to do?
Yeah, a number of things. But since we've shifted stuff around, I think I'm going to try my hand at Overlord, which was let me give you the elevator pitch here.
Yeah, give me.
But basically,
Cliff Notes.
The concept it's a kind of a third person style game.
Okay.
But I guess I've heard it described as kind of a Pikmin style game, which is you have minions, you tell them what to do, but it's.
I played Pikmin on GameCube. That game's great.
Right. You're non-copyright Sauron from the Lord of the Rings, in that your character design really looks like you're non-copyright offending Sauron, but you've been defeated.
Tolkien's estate's not going to come after
Right. If they would right now. It was on 360. It came out on PC. Picked it up there, and it's you're coming back after you're rising to power again. And I think there's something to do with the heroes that defeated you have actually kind of fallen to corruption as well. They're not good guys anymore because they defeated the bad guy, and now they're just kind of all jerks.
All right.
And so you're kind of liberating the people, but really not, because you're still the bad guy. It seems like an interesting concept, and I want to see what they do with that, because I think that is an interesting idea of this guy's bad, but maybe we're not good either. I don't know. We might get political during that recording. I don't know. We haven't started recording anything.
Oh no, we're not going to get that. We're not getting that political.
But I'm looking forward to see that, because I did start it. I got, I don't know, a quarter, halfway through the game. There's a point where you get to choose which evil lady gets to hang out with you. And I picked that, and I just kind of fell off the game after that. Because, all the challenging stuff is done. I got my waifu, that's it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that happened. And then I was just like, stop playing it. So I don't know how it ends. We'll see where we go from there. That's kind of what I'm thinking. There's some other things, but I think that's the lead candidate, let's say, right now. What about you, Joe? What are you looking at?
Well, just since Darksiders, my soul has been crushed.
You were super depressed.
I was super bummed about it, realizing I can't in good conscience put this out.
If I could tell the story, it was funny because you came over to record and we're doing stuff, and I come in and you're sitting down and you're like, there's the you need to take a seat kind of face. And I think we need to scrap Darksiders. I've been thinking about it, and it was like he was breaking up with me. It was amazing.
I hope it wasn't that dramatic,
but it had that vibe. It had that vibe.
Sure. I was definitely bummed because it was 7 episodes,
or it was
7 episodes.
It was the breakup, or son, your grandma just died.
Your grandma just died. Yeah, it was more like, we're gonna have to flush your fish down the toilet. I'm sorry.
Or we already did. I've already
flushed it. I already flushed it. Sorry, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna play something different.
Okay.
I'm thinking up next, probably gonna actually air this week as well. Space Marine.
Love Space Marine.
Warhammer 40K Space Marine.
Oh, get ready. I am probably going to lore out. You're probably going to get some 40K lore.
And I kind of expected that, because I don't know a lot about it. I love 40K. It's pretty cool, but I am not. I kind of bounce off of their flagship franchise in 40K. The Space Marines don't really do anything for me. Which
is the great thing about the 40K universe, is there is enough lore for even the minorest of factions.
Which is great, because I don't know anything about the lore. I don't know Space Marines. I have no real love or respect for that hierarchy. And,
yes. The you're going to throw up air quotes, there's two factions you could argue are the good guys. One are straight up just merciless communists that will chemically neuter people that they don't think fit in their empire, so in a generation they'll be gone. And just say,
I mean, we don't got to get into this right now.
No, but like
we'll have a whole series of Space Marines. Settle down there. Slow your roll. Slow your roll. We'll get there.
I'll say that. That's the faction that's not the Space Marines. They're not in the game. That's one you could argue is one of the good guys. So that said, we'll talk about the other faction
there's
later.
Going to be infinite talking points on 40K.
The point I'm
subjects.
making.
So if you're not familiar with the 40K universe, get ready.
Oh,
get ready.
You will be.
Gear up.
Oh,
we're
man.
big fans, and we do enjoy a lot of the Warhammer world, fantasy, and
the darkness, like the kind of like hilarious darkness. There's like a kind of like, no, we're going dark on dark on dark.
I mean, it's pretty metal.
It is so metal.
It is so metal. And I mean, I would probably have any of that painted on the side of a van at some point.
That's a good point. Yeah, trying to think of any codex cover for the actual tabletop game.
Yeah,
would work as a van siding. That's a fantastic point you make.
Yeah, but gear up. You're going to hear way more about that stuff than you ever wanted to know.
Consider this your teaser, your appetizer.
Yeah, this is a wet your whistle on that, and be ready to get sick of us talking about 40K.
Hope you're thirsty.
Yeah, get ready. Yeah, right on. I think that's about it.
Right. Yeah, this was kind of our test thing. I know we have our notes off here to the side. Like, we didn't touch half the things that we were going to talk about, but I think this is a good place to
kind of feels like we're at a decent. We've kind of laid it out.
Right. I expected to get some comments that are like,
yeah.
Either
any tips on if you want to hear us talk about other stuff, I mean, we're kind of focused a lot on video games this time. If you want to hear anything else, like I said, like you're going to hear a lot about 40K when we do Space Marine.
We're not going to do physics lectures. Don't ask for those.
Yeah, math is kind of out, especially in audio form, because that makes no sense.
Well, here's the thing: is I've enjoyed this to the point where I think I could see some people who are like, yeah, we just go longer podcast, and some people, for the love of God, less podcast, less podcast.
And hey, yeah, if you hate it, freaking let us know. We'll be done with it. We can we can can it, and we'll record an extra episode or something.
Well, yeah, but we'll probably keep doing it because we
enjoy podcasts.
We like this. This is fun, and this is to be honest, this is not terribly different from how we just sit around and talk. Like, we're trying to include a third, like the third member of the audience, but this is kind of how we just chat.
Yeah. And it makes it a little easier in podcast form, especially just because we don't have to focus too much on anything else, like we stated at the beginning.
Right. And
it's actually really nice. And it gives us a little bit of a break as well in between. We can do a podcast in between batch episodes of games.
Like today, maybe we're recording a lot, and we just say, you know what we need another palate type of cleanser. We need to sit and just BS for a bit.
A mental palate cleanser.
So we're just going to sit here, throw on a video, just chat. Our video. I realized our video.
Footage.
Should have been a fireside. Just a fireplace, just burning.
A nice fireplace in the corner.
Where we're going.
Nice fireside chat.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think, and we will be back soon with more regular content and maybe a podcast. We'll see. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah. Catch you guys later.